So the illustrations at the top are obviously of sort of communal bathing. You have the Roman baths, the sort of Turkish baths, the Shinto, Japanese communal bathing, and then the lower line is sort of what we now deal with, which are toilets under staircases, the sort of toilet out in the backyard, and podded toilets within hotel rooms. And I just think it's quite interesting that we used to sort of celebrate this connection, this sort of communication and interaction, social interaction with other people. And now actually we can find ourselves in the smallest room in the house and wondered why that was. I mean, I think that some of it is to do with, I don't know, status in a way. The fact that we can now afford to have our own labs, and historically we couldn't. Maybe there are other places where one can interact socially, and therefore you don't need to have the sort of bathing culture.
But I would say that there was actually, because there was the bathing, the communal bathing in the Roman times, but then that sort of, it did get a lot more conservative. But we've almost just recently actually broken that a little bit by having, say, unisex toilets, which I know isn't communal, but it is actually saying, well, where we've had before, and it's only a few years ago that you would have gone into a bar and gone, oh God, they've got unisex toilets, whereas now, there are a lot of clubs where the toilets are separate, but then you actually wash all your hands with the men as well.
If you do have on public buildings male and female toilets, if you separate, and we seem to always design in the same way, so the men's have the urinals, but that's about it, the rest is all the same. Maybe that's not the right way of thinking about it. Something we treat them the same space, otherwise same colors and anything. There's most of the time, but maybe it's not the right thing to do.
There was a Daily Mail report of, I don't know how long ago, which reported that we as Britons are more concerned about germs than we used to be. And that has sort of given rise to the use of, or the creation of antibacterial products. We certainly have, it seems to me that we've become more fearful of germs. And is that a worrying thing? Should we be worried about this sort of increase in hands-offness? Or should we as designers sort of embrace it because that enables us to create more product and sort of to combat it? I thought another interesting thing about this thing was the Japanese that wear masks. One school of thought is that is to do with not getting germs, but it's actually to do with transmitting germs, which is very decent of them, I suppose. But the other thing I sort of heard is that the Japanese are, their hospital bills and their doctor's bills are very high. So part of the reason is not just as sort of catching the germs, it's the commercial realities of paying the hospital bills. So it does go beyond, doesn't it? It doesn't go with this fear of germs. There are many more sort of things associated.
It's a little bit maybe also because you have these sort of announcements of global illnesses, diseases like swine flu or avian flu, which sort of starts somewhere in Asia and then travels across quickly, and so everybody is really more and more concerned and sort of, and then and also the all these advertising, you have to, when you sneeze, what do you do with your tissues or everything? I think it influences.
I think number one to me is visual thing. Like if I walk in somewhere and it all looks nice, or visually clean, then I assume it's alright.
Yes.
Another thing about not touching anything, when my children were young, they were actually scared of toilets that flush themselves, because so it has to be considered.
Were they scared of it because they were frightened of the technology, or?
No, not the technology. It's just like all of a sudden something flashes behind you, and you were taking your time, or I don't know. So they didn't like. We were traveling through America. They didn't like those toilets at all.
So they didn't have any concern about touching.
No, children are not worried about
everything.
No.
I think the super technological toilets are very much a status symbol. For instance, where I've just been, they were definitely a status symbol.
Yes. What did people come up to you and say, look at my toilets?
Well, they pretty much say we specified this, and it's like, and we've got one each.
Yeah.
Like, as in,
Yeah.
and so it was very much like that was, you were really at the top of your specification because you had husband, each, husband had one, wife had one,
Children had one.
children had one.
I think there is an element of that in the UK, and similar to what you just said there, Jane. We supplied Dorchester with our aquaplanes, and they went into all of the penthouse suites as a differentiator between the penthouse and the standard rooms. So there is that element of it being seen as a more luxurious item.
It does seem to sort of represent us culturally. Does that propose problems when it comes to designing toilets?
It does when you're looking at it from a global perspective.
Yeah.
So if you take, you talk about the Asian market, but also sort of the likes of Switzerland, etc., where actually cleaning yourself with water, it is a very European thing anyway, sort of with the bidets, etc. Whereas here in the UK, it's still seen as quite a strange thing to want to clean yourself with water, and yet actually what could be more natural?
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't go into a shower and just rub yourself with paper all over and expect to come out clean.
No. We seem to be accommodating in our worlds, sort of higher end and becoming very technologically driven and streamlining and not homogenous, sort of glam. But there's obviously the other side of things, which is where maybe we should be, considering, I don't know, this is obviously about saving the planet and the fact that with all this hand washing, we're using tons more water, and yet water is obviously scarce. And do we as designers have a responsibility? Yeah.
We will learn how to spend less time washing hands, etc. We will.
Well,
or
that's
whatever is the policy, I don't know, I'm just saying.
But that's where I wonder where this sort of ecological, the sort of pure ecological stuff can really come in.